Hi class 7, so we'll be continuing with chemical weathering today. We learned physical weathering or mechanical weathering in the last class, and it had two major types and two major reasons why it was forming. One was because of temperature, the other one because of frost action. Moving into chemical weathering. So I already told you in chemical weathering, the rock breaks down, but some minerals go missing. In physical weathering, even if the rock breaks down into 100 small particles, every particle of broken rock will have all the minerals. In chemical weathering, some minerals are missing. So chemical weathering involves the change in composition of the rocks due to chemical reaction. Due to chemical reaction, change in composition. Here mechanical weathering without changing chemical composition. Here chemical weathering, change in the composition of rocks. So this is the basic fundamental difference. Okay, this type of weathering happens over a period of time. It takes time for this rocks to happen. The chemical weathering of rocks occur in a number of ways which are given. So there are four major types of chemical weathering. Okay, and those are solution, carbonation, oxidation, hydration. So you should remember the four: solution, carbonation, oxidation, hydration. Okay, number one, solution. Some of the rocks and minerals such as limestone, rock salt, gypsum are soluble in water. For example, salt, which we have in our home, which we use for cooking, it is also taken from a combination of minerals, sodium and chloride. It occurs as a huge structure, sodium and chloride together, a big structure like this. It might occur as a big structure like this, and then it is grinded and powdered to get salt. And you know that salt dissolves in water. So even before making the powdered salt, if you take that mineral of salt and put it in water, it will dissolve, right? So those kind of rocks, limestone, salt, gypsum, some minerals are soluble in water. These rocks get dissolved in water and disintegrate to form a solution. So when they disintegrate, the chemical composition changes. That is solution. Number two, carbonation. Many minerals constituents of rocks such as carbon dioxide, while coming in contact with water, produce acidic effect, dissolves almost calcareous rocks like gypsum, marble and limestone. Rainwater collects over calcium carbonate into calcium bicarbonate, which soluble and taken away by groundwater, thus causing disintegration of rocks. So sometimes calcium carbonate, this is calcium carbonate formula, CaCO3 is converted to calcium bicarbonate, CaCO3 two times. So CaCO3 one time is calcium carbonate, CaCO3 two times is calcium bicarbonate. Calcium carbonate cannot be dissolved in water. Calcium bicarbonate can be dissolved in water. Okay, so what happens is sometimes the calcium carbonate is converted to calcium bicarbonate because of some acidic effect or acid rain or something which falls, some kind of chemical composition change which happens due to some rainfall or some gases which are present on the atmosphere. The calcium carbonate in the rocks become calcium bicarbonate. So now it has changed to calcium bicarbonate and it can easily be dissolved by the water. So when rainwater comes, it removes some minerals because calcium bicarbonate is dissolvable in water. Okay. Number three, oxidation. This is a very common type of weathering which you would have seen. When you look into some rocks, you would have seen a brown color, reddish brown color, powdery material on the surface. That is mainly because of rusting. So the process of rusting happens when the rock has iron. When any iron is present in the rocks, comes in contact with oxygen, it is changed to iron oxide. How would you know it has changed to iron oxide? If you look into the rock, you can see even the outside of the rock, you can see brown color, reddish brown color powder. If you touch it, your hand will also get reddish brown. The color of the rocks change from red to yellow to brown. Iron oxide crumbles easily and is eroded more easily than the original rock. So rock has iron. Iron is coming in contact with oxygen and water. It is changing to iron oxide. Iron oxide is reddish brown rust. this reddish brown rust iron oxide can easily break down, and original rock will not easily break down. So because it is changing into iron oxide, it is breaking down. So this is called oxidation. The last process is hydration. Expansion of minerals occurs when coming in contact with rainwater and becomes heavy and start disintegrating. So like a sponge, how sponge absorbs water. So when you hold a dry sponge, it is light. When you dip a sponge in water, it is heavy. Same way, some minerals, some rocks have small holes in it. So the water goes into the holes. When the water goes into the holes, what happens is that it becomes more heavy. So if it becomes more heavy, it can easily break. The best example is you take a empty water bottle, put it on the ground. The chances of the empty water bottle breaking is 0%. It will never break. You fill it with warm water or you fill it with water to the tip and you put it. Now the chances of the bottle breaking is 50%. You freeze the bottle, okay? You make it like hard, a very hard rock. Freeze it. Now you put the bottle down. The chances of the bottle breaking is 100%. So the same bottle is not breaking when it is not having water, is sometimes breaking, sometimes not breaking. When it has water in liquid form, it is definitely breaking when it is having water in solid form. Why? The main reason is when water starts to become hard and solid inside the bottle, was the example I gave, it would have become heavy. So the same thing if it happens in a rocks. When the minerals coming in contact with the rainwater, it comes into the rock, it starts freezing, it becomes heavy, and now it can easily start to break. This though can be termed as physical or mechanical, its effect in hydration is a chemical process. For example, feldspar, a mineral, is converted to kaolin, which is a clay. This is an example. So you can see chemical weathering in sandstone rocks. Some minerals are removed. See, the rock is not broken down, some minerals are removed. I will show a specimen of a rock right now. Okay, so you can take a look at this rock. You can clearly see that the rock is not broken down. Is it broken into pieces? No. But is it weathered? Yes. See, the water has gone in through this gap, through this gap, through this gap, through this gap. See, holes are there in these rocks. Some minerals are removed, but some minerals are remaining. So this is the best example of chemical weathering. If I break this rock into two, you can see holes inside the broken portion also. So this is a very good example of, see how many tiny holes through which the water has gone inside. To change or take away just one mineral or just two minerals out of the 20-30 minerals that would have been in this rock. So this is a very good example of chemical weathering. So we learned 4 types: solution, water mixing with some kind of minerals will dissolve it, like how salt dissolves with water. Then we learned about carbonation. Carbonation is when calcium carbonate, which doesn't dissolve in water, changes to calcium bicarbonate and then it dissolves in water. Simple. Then we learned about oxidation. Any rock which has iron, this is the symbol of iron. What happens that this when this comes in contact with oxygen, it will become iron oxide. When iron comes in contact with oxygen, it becomes Fe plus O2 becomes FeO2. Simple. Iron oxide. Iron is very strong. It will not break down. Iron oxide is very weak. It will easily break down. So now it will break down into another rock which is mostly under the category of oxidation. Last one, hydration. Through the tiny holes, water goes inside. It becomes more heavy. It falls down. It will break and it will cause a hydration kind of weathering. So these are the 4 major types of weathering. So now you know what is physical weathering. Now you know what is chemical weathering. Read through these points and you can just ask me if you have doubts in your next class. So these are just easy points which I have taught you, and it's always almost a summary of what you have learned in physical and chemical weathering. So I hope you understood chemical weathering. We'll be looking into the next topic next class.